Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about something every man faces at some point in his life: losing a woman to another man. It's a situation that can feel like a devastating blow, but what if I told you that losing her is not a curse, but a blessing? Too many men fall into the trap of self-pity, searching for closure, or desperately trying to prove their worth after a woman walks away. But a man who understands his value doesn't chase, doesn't beg, and doesn't crumble under the weight of rejection. Instead, he sees this moment for what it truly is: a turning point. When she leaves, you have two choices: stay broken, stuck in the past, and let this situation define you, or rise above it, evolve, and become the man she regrets losing. In this video, we'll discuss the power of letting go, why detachment is the ultimate strength, and how walking away can shift the dynamic unexpectedly. Stay with me until the end, because the moment you fully embrace this mindset, you'll never look at relationships the same way again. Let's get started. 1. The illusion of love. Men often believe that love is a steadfast force, something that, once built, will endure the tests of time. They see love as carefully constructed with loyalty, dedication, and shared experiences. They imagine their commitment's depth will be enough to sustain it. But women do not experience love in the same way. To them, love is not a structure but a sensation, a wave of emotion that can rise and fall with the tides of life. Not logic or loyalty dictates their feelings, but the excitement, connection, and passion in the present moment. This fundamental difference in how men and women perceive love explains why many men are blindsided when a relationship they invested in suddenly dissolves. They believed in permanence, in the idea that love was a bond secured through effort and consistency. Yet for a woman, love must not be preserved through sheer will. If that feeling fades, she will leave, not because her partner was unworthy, but because she no longer experiences the emotional pull that once drew her in. It is easy to misunderstand this as disloyalty, but it is simply how emotions function. Feelings by nature are temporary. No matter how intense they seem in the moment, they are always in motion, shifting based on circumstances, experiences, and time. Just as joy can turn into sorrow, passion can transform into indifference. The man who understands this does not beg for permanence in a world where nothing is permanent. He does not cling to a love slipping away, nor defines his worth by whether a woman stays or goes. To embrace this understanding is to adopt a mindset rooted in strength and clarity. A man who grasps the fleeting nature of love does not fear loss. He does not attempt to trap a woman in a feeling that no longer exists. Instead, he walks forward, knowing that love, like everything else, is transient. If a woman leaves, it is not because he failed. She was never his to keep. 2. Control your emotions, control your life. A man who lacks control over his emotions is a man who surrenders his power. Women, consciously or unconsciously, test men to see how they react under pressure. When a relationship begins to crack, when she pulls away or loses interest, she expects a man to break. She expects desperation, endless messages, late-night calls, obsessive checking of her social media. She expects a man to crumble under the weight of rejection, and when he does, he confirms what she already suspected: that she holds the power, that her actions dictate his emotional state. But a man who understands his worth does not react this way. He does not beg, plead, or seek validation. He does not drown in self-pity or lose himself in a spiral of regret. Instead, he remains steady, composed, and in control. He does not suppress his emotions, he masters them. He acknowledges the pain, but instead of allowing it to consume him, he channels it into self-improvement. Emotional control is not about pretending not to feel, but deciding how those feelings will influence his actions. A Stoic man understands that reacting emotionally only strengthens her position. If he lashes out, it shows he is ruled by impulse. If he chases after her, it signals that he values her opinion of him more than his self-respect. The moment he stops seeking validation, the dynamic shifts. She begins questioning her decision and wonders why he is not reacting as expected. She reevaluates his worth, drawn to the quiet confidence of a man who does not beg for her attention. This principle extends far beyond relationships. A man who masters his emotions masters his life. He does not allow external circumstances to dictate his state of mind. He does not panic under pressure, lash out in anger, or crumble when faced with adversity. He maintains control, knowing his true strength is responding to the challenges. Women respect men who possess this level of emotional discipline, not because they are cold or detached, but because they are unshakable. They stand firm in their sense of self, unaffected by the fleeting whims of others. They are not easily swayed, not easily broken. And in a world where so many men let their emotions control them, the man who remains in command of himself stands apart. 3. The power of walking away. Men often believe that if they just say the right words or make the perfect argument, they can change a woman's mind when she decides to leave. They pour their emotions into long messages, hoping to remind her of the love they shared, pleading for another chance. But they fail to realize that she has already decided by the time a woman walks away. She has considered her decision, weighed her emotions, and chosen her path. No convincing will make her rethink what she has already resolved within herself. A man who knows his worth does not beg for attention or validation. He does not negotiate his value because he understands that proper respect is not given to those who plead to be chosen. Instead of grasping desperately, he steps back with quiet confidence. This is the paradox many men fail to see. When a man walks away without resistance, anger, or seeking closure, he immediately shifts the dynamic. Suddenly, the woman who left begins to question. She wonders why he did not chase, why he did not try to prove his worth. Was she wrong to leave? Did she underestimate him? The truth is, a woman only truly values what she fears losing forever. If she knows a man will always be there, always waiting, always available, she will take him for granted. But if she senses that his absence is permanent, that he is not waiting for her return, she is forced to reassess. Doubt begins to creep in. The certainty she once had started to waver, and in many cases the very act of walking away, without explanation, without drama, becomes the most powerful statement a man can make. This is not about playing games or manipulating emotions. It is about self-respect. A man who walks away does so because he refuses to be in a situation where he is not valued. He does not leave to provoke a reaction. He leaves because he understands that no amount of words can force someone to appreciate what they have not already recognized. His silence speaks louder than any argument, and his absence becomes a presence that lingers in her mind. Many men struggle with this concept because they believe effort equates to love. They have been conditioned to think that fighting for a relationship signifies deep devotion. However, true love is not about convincing someone to stay, but about mutual recognition of value. If a woman does not see his worth when he is present, she will not suddenly realize it when he pleads for her attention. Only when he is gone, truly gone, she is left to reflect on what she may have lost. Walking away is not a move of weakness, but of strength. It is the ultimate test of self-respect, a declaration that a man values himself too much to remain where he is not cherished. When a woman sees this strength and realizes he will not wait indefinitely, she faces a reality she did not anticipate. That is the moment she begins to question. That is the moment she starts to wonder if she made a mistake. And that, more than any words he could ever say, is the true power of walking away. 4. The strength of silence. Silence holds a power that words often fail to match. Many men feel an overwhelming urge to seek closure, plead their case, or demand an explanation after a breakup or a moment of rejection. They compose long messages hoping carefully chosen words will change her mind. They ask for one last conversation, believing she will see them differently if they can just say the right thing. But they don't realize that words often fall on deaf ears while silence lingers, echoing in ways they cannot anticipate. A man who embraces silence exercises control over himself and, in turn, influences how he is perceived. When he refrains from chasing, explaining, or reacting emotionally, he forces her to sit with her decision. She may have expected anger, sadness, or a desperate attempt to pull her back, but she is met with stillness instead, and in that stillness a void begins to form. He no longer feeds her ego and provides validation from knowing someone is fighting for her. Instead, he walks away with quiet confidence, leaving her to wonder what he thinks and feels, and whether she made the right choice. While most men crumble under rejection, a man who masters silence reclaims his power. He does not beg, he does not negotiate, he does not allow his emotions to dictate his actions. Instead, he channels his energy into self-improvement. He becomes more assertive, sharper, and more focused. Rather than drowning in regret, he thrives. He elevates himself in ways that make her second-guess what she let go. With time, the dynamic shifts. She begins to feel the absence he left behind, which grows heavier the longer he remains silent. Many women expect a man to react when she pulls away. They anticipate anger, sadness, or attempts to convince her to stay. When none of that comes, when instead she is met with composed indifference, it unsettles her. She starts to question whether he ever needed her at all. Did she misjudge his feelings? Was he more independent than she assumed? As time passes, the silence becomes a reminder of what she lost, a presence that once filled her life, but is now gone without protest. The strength of a man is not measured by his ability to chase, but by his ability to stand still when everything tempts him to react. He understands true power lies in self-control, resisting the urge to seek validation, and knowing that his worth does not depend on anyone else's approval. While she expected him to be broken, he is rebuilding. While she anticipated him lingering, he had already moved forward, and he is already beyond her reach when she realizes what she has. 5. Leveling up. Become the man she regrets losing. Heartbreak has a way of pulling men into a downward spiral. Many find themselves stuck in endless cycles of self-pity, replaying memories and searching for answers that will never come. They waste time overanalyzing what went wrong, hoping that they can change the present by understanding the past. But this approach leads nowhere. A man consumed by regret and longing is not growing. He is a stagnant man trapped in an illusion of what he once was. A wiser man chooses a different path. He recognizes that pain is not something to be feared, but something to be harnessed. Instead of letting heartbreak define him, he uses it as fuel to rebuild himself into the best version of who he can be. He does not dwell on the past or chase validation from a woman who has already walked away. Instead, he turns inward, focusing on his physical strength, mental discipline, and financial stability. He steps into the gym not to distract himself, but to cultivate resilience. He sharpens his mind with books, challenges, and experiences that push him beyond his comfort zone. He builds his career, increases his wealth, and expands his influence. Every step he takes is no longer about proving something to her, it is about proving something to himself. Months pass. The man who once felt broken is now unrecognizable. His posture is more vigorous, and his presence is more commanding. He walks with purpose, speaks confidently, and no longer seeks approval from anyone. And then, without warning, she sees him again, maybe through mutual friends, social media, or a chance encounter. But the man standing before her is not the man she left. He has outgrown the version of himself that once longed for her return. And in that moment, something shifts. Regret sets in, not because she wants him back, but because she realizes she underestimated him. She thought he would stay the same, trapped in the past, still hoping for her validation. But instead he leveled up, becoming the kind of man she never expected. And now, when she sees him, she knows she no longer has a place in his life. But here's the most potent part. By the time she regrets losing him, he no longer cares. He has moved forward, not out of spite, but because he understands his worth. He does not need closure, and he has no desire for revenge. His success, strength, and peace are the only answers he ever needed, while she lingers in what is. This is the ultimate transformation, not just in how he looks, but in how he thinks, moves, and values himself. The man who once felt powerless now holds complete control over his destiny. And the greatest irony, he never needed her regret to begin with. 6. Indifference, the true power move. A genuinely detached man exudes a quiet strength that women find irresistible. Unlike those who seek to make her jealous or crave her attention, he moves forward, focused on himself. This is not a strategy. It is genuine indifference and shifts the balance of power in his favor. Women are drawn to what they cannot control. The moment she senses she no longer influences you, her perception changes. If you do not chase her, she begins to wonder why. If you remain unaffected, she questions if she misjudged your worth. The man who moves on without hesitation instantly regains value. Many men misunderstand this, mistaking detachment for playing games. They pretend to move on while secretly hoping for a reaction. Genuine indifference is different. It is freedom from needing her validation. Your focus is entirely on yourself, and that makes you powerful. Exes often return, not because they were manipulated, but because they feel the absence of a man who no longer waits for them. The man who truly lets go wins, values himself, moves forward, and naturally becomes more desirable. 7. Attraction through detachment. Attraction is often misunderstood. Many men believe that the more they express their desire, the stronger the connection they will build. However, reality tells a different story. Women are naturally drawn to what feels just out of reach, to what they perceive as valuable and scarce. When a man becomes overly available, predictable, and emotionally invested in seeking her approval, she subconsciously registers that she has nothing left to pursue. The chase is over, and her excitement begins to fade with it. This paradox is why emotional detachment can be such a powerful force. When a man stops centering his life around a woman's attention, when he no longer needs her validation, a shift occurs. Suddenly she starts to feel the absence of his energy. She notices he no longer seeks reassurance or reacts to her every move, and in that space she wonders if she misjudged his value. Women are wired to crave emotional engagement. They thrive on attention, feeling desired, and the certainty that someone is invested in them. But when that certainty is removed, a void is created when a man disengages and redirects his focus elsewhere. She may not have noticed his presence before, but will undoubtedly see his absence. This is where the dynamic shifts. The moment she feels she is no longer the center of his world, curiosity takes over. She starts questioning whether she made the right decision and whether she underestimated his worth. This principle is most evident in breakups. When a man begs, pleads, or desperately tries to prove his value after being rejected, he reinforces why she left. He becomes a man who lacks control and depends on her approval for his sense of self-worth. But he sends a different message when he walks away with dignity and remains unshaken. He communicates that he is whole without her and does not need her to feel complete. And it is precisely that unwavering self-possession that sparks renewed interest. A Stoic man does not chase. He does not seek validation, nor allow his emotions to be dictated by external forces. He understands that his strength lies in his ability to remain grounded, control his reactions, and move forward with or without her. This detachment is not about playing games or manipulating emotions, but recognizing his worth and refusing to compromise it for temporary attention. Women respect men who command their presence and are not easily swayed by fleeting emotions. When a man stops trying to win her over, he naturally becomes more attractive because he embodies the qualities of confidence and self-sufficiency. He does not need her, he chooses her. And that distinction makes all the difference. 8. The inevitable return. At some point, she returns. She left believing the grass was greener, convinced life had more to offer elsewhere. But time changes things. When reality doesn't match her expectations, she looks back. At first, it's curiosity, wondering if you still think about her. But when she sees you thriving without her, she questions everything. Many men mistake this as respect or regret, believing she now sees their worth. But she isn't returning because she values you. She's testing if she still has power over you. If you make it too easy, the cycle repeats. She loses interest the moment she knows she can have you again. But you've changed. You are no longer waiting, seeking closure, or needing validation. You've built a life beyond her. That realization stings her more than anything. She expected familiarity but found someone she no longer influences. And that's when the power shifts. Don't see her return as a second chance. It isn't. It's a test. The strongest thing you can do? Smile, nod, and keep moving forward. Because by the time she comes back, you've already outgrown her. 9. The Stoic mindset. You were the prize all along. A man who understands his worth never chases validation, begs for affection, and never compromises his self-respect for temporary approval. His value is not dependent on whether a woman chooses to stay or walk away. He was the prize all along. And the moment he internalizes this truth, he becomes untouchable, immune to rejection, unaffected by loss, and entirely in control of his destiny. Many men fall into the trap of believing their happiness and self-worth are tied to a woman's acceptance. They invest their energy into winning her over, proving themselves and seeking her approval, only to feel lost when she pulls away. But a man with a Stoic mindset does not operate from a place of neediness. He does not view a relationship as something that completes him, because he is already. He approaches love from a place of abundance, knowing that if one woman does not see his value, another will. The irony is that when a man embraces this mindset, he becomes the kind of man women naturally gravitate toward. Women respect confidence, independence, and emotional strength. They are drawn to men who do not seek validation because such men radiate an air of certainty and self-sufficiency. When a man carries himself as if he is the prize, he shifts the dynamic. He is no longer waiting for approval. Instead, he becomes the one who chooses. And what happens when she walks away? The weak-minded man sees it as a personal loss, a blow to his ego. But the Stoic man recognizes the truth. She is the one who lost, not him. He does not dwell on what could have been, nor does he waste energy trying to convince her to stay. He continues moving forward, focused on his path, growth, and success. And in time she will realize what she gave up, but by then he won't care anymore. In the end, the choice is yours. You can stay stuck in the past, chasing closure and validation, or you can take back control, master yourself, and evolve beyond the need for her approval. A Stoic man does not chase, he attracts. He understands that losing her was never a curse but a gift, a turning point that forced him to rise above emotional weakness and become untouchable. When you embrace this mindset, you stop seeking validation and command respect. So remember, emotional control is power, walking away is strength, silence forces her to feel your absence, and heartbreak is nothing more than fuel for self-improvement. True detachment makes you magnetic, and the men who evolve after a loss are the ones women regret losing the most. You were the prize all along, and once you fully embody that truth, you will never feel the need to look back. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced this transformation? What lessons did you learn from walking away? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more insights on relationships, self-mastery, and personal power. Stay strong, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next one.